We're just going to jump right in and run right through them. First key factor to any successful data science project is going to be that we ask a sharp question of our data. And what that means is we need to ask a question that has a very specific answer to it for our model to be able to give us that specific answer. Another way of saying it is, if you ask an obscure question of the model, there's a good chance you're going to get an obscure answer back. An example of that would be in a customer churn example, we need to ask, is this customer going to cancel their subscription in the next 3 months? That's a very specific answer the model can give back to us and determine. If we make it more obscure, there's a good chance it might get confused and our model might not be able to be as accurate as we'd like it to be. So that is a key point to any data science project. It's one of my most important points, is that we need to know what question we're trying to answer, and we need to make sure that is a sharp question that we can answer. The second key factor is that we need to prepare our data. So the old adage you've probably heard is junk in, junk out. Same thing goes with a data science project, a machine learning project. The data that comes in needs to be as clean as we can get it so that we can pass it through that model and train that model and get accurate results out. So we're going to do things like look for columns that have rows in them that don't match the type that column should hold in it. So if it's primarily a text type column and we have a number of rows with just numbers in it that don't make sense, that's going to throw our model off, and that's some data we need to clean up and get out of there and clean up as much as we can. Another example is getting rid of missing data. So if there's columns that are only 10% populated, they're not going to be much use to our model to be able to do some predictions. So we need to figure out what we need to do with those empty cells within the table to help our model, again, be trained well and produce a great result. And I also just touched on another piece of this preparing your data. The model needs a table of numbers and words. So to run a model, we can consume all kinds of data. We can consume unstructured video files, audio files, determine sentiment that goes on inside those. But what we need to do in the model layer is take that unstructured data and somehow, way, shape, or form map it into a table so that we can do our analysis on it and train our models and produce accurate models for predicting outcomes. The last piece of preparing data is also we need to create features that are going to best help predict the question that we're trying to answer, best help answer the question we're asking. So an example of that would be we might have a couple columns in our data set. For instance, maybe a start time and an end time, but really the column that helps us predict or answer the question that we have the best would be the duration between those two. So a feature is really just a calculation between multiple columns within our data set that just give us the exact number or the exact word that we're looking for to run through our model, train our model, and then be able to answer questions of that. So all of that goes into the second key factor of preparing our data and creating the features for our model. And the last key step for a successful data science project is going to be to train your model and create a model that can answer your questions. So after doing all this playing and churning and messing with models, we need to pick one. We need to train it with some of that data, some historical data that we have with those answers in them, and then productionalize and create a model that we can then pass data to answer questions going forward. So in other words, another way of saying that would be to productionalize that model. So actually put it into use, actually get some return on investment on that, which would then turn it into a successful project and hopefully leads on to more and more. So if you have any more questions about data science projects and how you might be able to execute those within your company, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you. Keep watching Azure every day, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.